Hello everyone, it's Dr. Manjiri Nadkarni, Ayurvedic MD registered holistic nutritionist, back today for another Wellness Wednesday. So today we're going to talk about male infertility, or rather how to support male fertility. So that's the topic for today. If you are watching this live, please put a hashtag as live or say a quick hi. If you have any questions for me, I'll be more than happy to answer those questions. So please feel free to post your questions here, say a quick hi. If you're watching this as a replay, you can always post a hashtag as replay and you can ask me any questions that you have. And this is a very exciting topic for me because I come from a culture where a lot of the times women are always held responsible, and that's what I saw in my clinics during my internships, that when we talk about fertility, women are usually held responsible for infertility, right? And not many, like maybe it's egoistical, or I don't know, maybe just a cultural thing where fertility is not talked about much, and then the whole responsibility of things not working is laid on the woman. So it's really nice to show up and talk about different causes and also talk about this from an Ayurvedic perspective. Hi, Shane. Nice to meet you. Thank you for showing up live. So I can see a few people on my Instagram as well. I'm trying to be live on both Facebook and Instagram at the same time. And hopefully, I won't get as distracted today. So let's get started. The first thing is, it's not always that a woman is responsible. So if you are trying to conceive and it's been a long time and you haven't, been able to conceive, I would suggest both partners, get really checked for your health and, get all the testings done to make sure, anatomically everything is fine, even physiologically everything is fine. So making sure to get those tests done is, extremely important. Infertility can be understood as not being able to conceive even 1 year after trying for a child, right, or trying for conception. So it's the 1 year mark that we talk about. So if you haven't been able to conceive for a year, definitely get some support. And the one thing in Ayurveda is, when we talk about conception, we talk about the time, Rutu. I've mentioned in the previous video, we talk about the time, we talk about the kshetra or the field. So the field is also the body of the female, but also you have to look at um, the male factors in form of bija, right? So when we talk about the ovum or the sperm has an equal importance, and this has to be really understood and this has to be really considered. So when we talk about nutrients, and there's a slightly different perspective. So because I'm going to talk about diet and nutritional strategies, so the first one we're going to consider is some dietary and nutritional factors leading to male infertility. So I'm going to talk about certain nutrient deficiencies, but in Ayurveda, we look at the entire process of conception very differently. And even when we talk about fertility, we talk about reproductive fluids, or as Shukra Dhatu, which is the seventh tissue. So if you are deficient, if your body is not healthy, and I know I have been stressing about this all the time, but if your body is not healthy as a man, chances are your sperms are not going to be healthy. If you have a lot of inflammation in your body, if you are uh, even though you're exercising, sometimes people exercise too much, right? And we're going to talk about that in lifestyle factors, that over exercising is a causative factor. When we talk about Ayurvedic causes for infertility, especially the male kind, too much exercising, where you're constantly depleting your body, right? Too much exercising can also be one cause. So we're going to look at the dietary nutritional factors. We're going to look at the lifestyle factors as well today. So let's get started. As always, if you have questions, please feel free to post your questions here. If you have any comments, I would love to know about those as well. So when we talk about better sperm quality from the uh, dietary or nutritional perspective, the importance is that when you have better, you'll have better count of sperm, you can get better concentration, motility, and there are certain minerals. So the two most important minerals that are considered from a modern perspective are zinc as well as selenium, which are both extremely important for the development of sperm itself. And then there are also omega 3 acids, which play a huge role. Also, antioxidant vitamins like vitamin C, vitamin E have a huge role when it comes to sperm production and formation. And there are also certain things that are coming up, like carnitine is an amino acid which also has been shown to be important in sperm development. And carnitine can overall boost your energy. This is an amino acid that's found in a lot of animal products, right? And also the enzyme CoQ10 is also seen to be very important in male fertility nowadays. So CoQ10 is necessary for energy production in your entire body cells. And people especially who are on cholesterol medication, so if you are having issues with cholesterol, or if you have been put on any statins, right, that is the time where your CoQ10 can be depleted. And if you're trying for conception, lowered CoQ10 can also impact your overall energy levels and could also be one of the causes. And CoQ10 support at that time can also help with fertility, right? So this is a little bit of the modern perspective. So zinc, selenium, there's omega 3 fatty acids. You need to have good amounts of antioxidants, to decrease the oxidative stress and also inflammation in the body, right? So when we talk about inflammation in the body, there could be low grade inflammation in your body. So we're not talking about localized inflammation. We are talking about your general entire body inflammation, where you could be tired, you could be lethargic, you don't feel like you have any energy at all, you're constantly exhausted, right? So these could be factors that also show. And you might have mild feverish symptoms but not really fever, right? So these are all indicative of having inflammation in your body. And finding the root cause of this inflammation, where it's coming from, is exceptionally important. No matter what we talk about, in any kind of like health issues. So that is extremely important. And in Ayurveda, we talk about, it as Shukra Dhatu, which is the seventh tissue, right? So when you're processing tissues, right, from the food that you digest, your digested food goes through a lot of changes to get incorporated as your body tissues or to create your body tissues. Now, this reproductive fluids, whether we talk about fluids or even the sperm or ovum, they are the seventh step, right, or the seventh processing. So they're super fine, they're extremely refined products in the body or refined tissues in the body. And if your digestion is not working well, you're not going to be able to assimilate the nutrients, and you're not going to be able to create these healthy reproductive tissues. And that is going to show up as lowered sperm count or lowered sperm motility, or a lot of abnormalities in the sperm itself, right? So when we talk about male factors, these are a few things to consider. So digestion is extremely important, and metabolism is also extremely important when it comes to the sperm. And also, because it's a fluid tissue, drinking a lot of water, which might sound like very basic, right? But because Shukra Dhatu itself is a fluid tissue or a liquid tissue, its most refined form. So also making sure you're having enough water. You're also, and one of the closest foods that helps increase your reproductive tissue is milk, according to Ayurveda. So I know milk has become extremely controversial in today's world, especially in the Western world, where everything bad is attributed to milk, which is not necessarily true. But milk is one of the things that can instantly, get rid of the depletions in your body, that can instantly nourish your body. And that also has the capacity to nourish your reproductive tissues and also instantly boost, your Shukra Dhatu, right? The same is um, uh, ghee, right? Ghee is also extremely important. So ghee has lots of good fats. It also has CLA. It has butyric acid. So ghee is also extremely important when it comes to diet and nutrition. So my the bottom line, what I'm trying to say is, having good sources of also protein. If you look at the milk component, it has good quality of protein. From a modern perspective, that is extremely important. Also, good fats are really, really important, and making sure you do not have any of the deficiencies is extremely important. So when you are healthy and when you're not depleted, that is going to be extremely important. So let me look at more things. So I would love to talk a little bit about the causes of infertility, or especially the male infertility according to Ayurveda. So we talk about what's known as shukra dosha, which are defects in either the volume or the morphology of the sperm, or motility, sperm count, or there could be certain obstructions in the genital tract as well. There could be certain blockages, and there could also be erectile dysfunction, right? So these are all considered to be under shukra dosha. And because of the dysfunction, the sorry, I thought I had a question. Yeah, so because of the erectile dysfunction, you're not going to have sperms deposited high into near the cervix, so the chances of conception are really, really less. So, Vimarsha, that's a very good question. Having cheese in limited quantity help in increasing shukra dhatu. Cheese, like if you talk about the softer cheeses like paneer and all, those can help, but rather having dried cheeses are going to contribute to vata increase. Dried cheeses don't really help nourish kapha. So if you're looking at or shukra dhatu, you're looking at increasing the shukra dhatu, the best option would be to have organic whole milk, right? And if you are reacting to cow's milk, even goat milk is an alternative. So whole organic goat milk could be really nourishing, right? And that could definitely support the shukra dhatu or reproductive fluids. Um, so those are a few. Okay. So let's talk about the common lifestyle and environmental factors. So lifestyle factors are the one most common thing is stress, right? So stress is one thing we talk about all the time, and stress can really create lots of issues. A lot of erectile dysfunction is also related to stress itself, right? Stress can also impact your digestion and the processing, and hence you're not going to have enough nutrients that will support um, the formation of good tissue. Stress can also lead to certain things like premature ejaculation, or in the absence of ejaculation. So certain issues can also be formed, which are more like the technical aspects, but related to stress as well. So that's one factor. One other factor that I see is excess heat, right? So if you are someone who's working in like kitchens or something, and if you are constantly exposed to a lot of heat, like in your workplace, and if you're not having any protection, that itself could cause lowered sperm count, because your sperms cannot thrive in a hot temperature, right? That's why there could be other issues. We're not going to discuss a lot of anatomical issues, because there's like undescended testis and different health conditions, but those are diagnosed pretty earlier when you're trying for conception. So I'm not going to get into all that, but heat is one thing, radiation is the other thing. So if you are working in a place where there's exposure to radiation, or if you are even carrying your cell phone in your pockets, right? So something as simple as carrying a cell phone in your pocket, and there has been research done that show that cell phones is associated with a decrease in the semen quality, and also the sperm count, motility, viability, and as well as the morphology, right, with exposure to cell phone. So that is something you have to be mindful and decrease the use of cell phone, or not have it anywhere on your body. And this is true for both men and women. Like having a cell phone on your body is not healthy. So please, that's something I would ask you to avoid doing. Over exercising is one of the main causes. So when we talk about the Ayurvedic causes of infertility, one factor has been talked about as ati vyayam, right? So if you are constantly exhausting yourself. You are constantly in depletion because you're over exercising, you're not getting nourished, right? It is going to create depletion, and it is also going to create a lot of what we call vata aggravation, and this aggravated vata dosh is going to dry your entire body out, including your reproductive tissues, right? So this is one cause. Certain food, having foods that are not compatible with you. We've talked about food incompatibility or viruddhana, right? That can also impact your digestion. Going back to the digestion piece, eating foods that are calorie rich, that create a lot of obesity, but they are nutrient deficient, is going to create a status of depletion in the body, though you look obese. So your body fat will be increased, your body weight will be increased, and obesity is also seen as can also impact your fertility nowadays. So that's also one factor. Any issues, debilitating diseases, if you have any existing health conditions, muscle weakness, if you have any infections, any kind of pathological defects, that also could cause. And then we've talked about mental stress as well. So these are a few causes I've mentioned. And in Ayurveda, there's a whole branch which talks about Vajikaran, or that is all about increasing, the quality of the sperm as well as the output of the sperm, right? So an entire branch is known as Vajikaran that can help treat infertility. And there are certain foods, some simple foods to have that can enhance the semen quality is milk, as I mentioned before, ghee or clarified butter, as I mentioned before. There are also herbs like shatavari as well as ashwagandha, and also kapikachu or mucuna pruriens. So those are some things that you can definitely add to your diet. Shatavari, ashwagandha, or mucuna, you can mix it with milk and drink it, and that will definitely support. Maca is another wonderful herb, right? So maca is pretty popular in the Western continent. In India, we talk more about shatavari, ashwagandha, but when we talk about here, maca is also pretty popular, and maca can support fertility for both men and women, right? And it is also an adaptogen. It also energizes you. Ashwagandha is also an adaptogen, so it's going to decrease your stress or decrease the impact of stress on your body and increase your energy. And also ashwagandha helps increase your muscle strength, right? So that's something. There are certain herbs that also help improve the fertilization capacity, right, or the sperm penetration. So there are different ones. You can use brahmi, you can use guduchi as well. So guduchi is a bitter tonic, and it cleanses everything. It's going to clean each and every cell and make sure it's also make sure that your cells function optimally, whether it's your physical like body cells or your sperm cells, right? So it's very important. For libido enhancing, there are different one of my favorite things is saffron, right? So saffron or kesar, if you mix it in milk and drink it, warm, that can also help with libido. Garlic is another thing that can also help balance your vata instantly, and is also works as an aphrodisiac. Long pepper or pipili, clove, so these are all going to help. And certain herbs also help with premature ejaculation, like nutmeg or ashwagandha. And if you have excess body heat, so if your body has low grade inflammation, or if you have excess pitta, certain pitta balancing herbs like sandalwood can also help with balancing the body out. So Shane is asking me one question that, fennel seeds are not good for men having low testosterone levels. Is it true? Fennel seeds have a slight estrogenic effect, right? So as long as you're having it in the food, it is perfectly fine. I have never seen any issues. So I haven't really heard of that. Fennel actually helps with vata. Sweet corn is fine. So any foods that are sweet to taste, right? Anything that's sweet, anything that's grounding, these are all vata balancing that can really help nourish your body. That is the recommended diet for increasing the sperm quantity as well as the quality, right? And making sure you don't have any digestive toxins or ama. But the diet prescribed is usually like rice with milk, so everything that's cooling, everything that's nourishing. Root vegetables are fantastic. So a recipe could be something like a sweet potato pudding that you can make by adding some jaggery. You can add some saffron. You can add some milk, or almond milk if you don't like milk. Even almonds are extremely nourishing. Nuts can be extremely nourishing as well. The only thing to be mindful with nuts is nuts are high pitta, or they increase your pitta, or they increase the fiery aspect of you. So you don't want to heat your body too much. That's the one rule with managing fertility, especially in case of men, is heat is excess body heat, or foods that are going to increase your body heat are not your friends, especially when we talk about the male fertility. So try to have foods that are cooling, foods that are soothing, and simple things like drinking milk, a glass of milk with some ashwagandha or shatavari, or even almond milk or date milk. If you are someone who's working a lot and who's really exhausted, or who has a strenuous job, and then you're trying to conceive on the other hand, but you're extremely depleted, even soaking dates at night with a few almonds and blending those in the morning along with milk is going to help rejuvenate your entire body, right? And not just um, yeah, and support your reproductive tissues as well. So those are a few things. Sweet corns, again, Vimarsha, you can definitely have that. Hi, fit mom of twins, nice to see you here live on Instagram. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm trying to keep this a little bit short, 15 to 20 minutes. If you have any questions, or if you've been trying, or if you want to know how Ayurveda can support your fertility, whether it's male or female fertility, feel free to just email me, or um, just ping me, and I'll be more than happy to set up a 15-minute consult, so to see how I can help you. And if you have any other questions, you're most welcome to post it here in the comment section itself. So thank you for watching this live. I will be more regular, and I'll be back. I am back this week, to do a lot more Facebook lives. I took a few days off from everything just to deal with like a sudden loss of my fur baby. I'm back. Oysters are considered to be aphrodisiacs as well. So oysters do have zinc, right? So a lot of seafood, oysters as well as clams, they would have good amounts of zinc. So they are also important according to, the nutritional aspect, to get enough zinc in. From an Ayurvedic perspective, the one thing I would again love to say is, no matter how much you supplement, right, you have to be able to metabolize those supplements as well. Sometimes what I see in my practice is, no matter how much you're taking, you're not absorbing. So if the issue lies with absorption, it might not be an issue with what that you're getting a lack of nutrients. Probably you're getting nutrient rich food. Probably you're adding lots of supplements in your diet or in your lifestyle. You're exercising, you're making sure everything is fine. But if you have issues with absorption, if you're not picking those nutrients up, it is not going to help you. So that's something to consider, right? But diet, lifestyle, they're all extremely important. And when we talk about Ayurveda, it is a very powerful science, and we use natural and simple remedies to help you balance your body. So I work primarily with a lot of dietary lifestyle changes, stress management, and minimal herbs, right? And that can create a huge impact on you. So again, I'm signing off for now, and I will be back with other Facebook Live soon. Thank you for watching this, and feel free to share it or tag your friends here. Thanks, Vimarsha. Bye for now. Thank you, Shane.